Some sisters borrow clothes. Mine borrowed my entire future. Most people thought I was Riley's aunt. At her high school graduation, when the counselor handed her the diploma and smiled at me in the crowd, she said, "You must be so proud. Your niece is brilliant." I just nodded. I was 29. She was 18. And I had worked 2 jobs to make sure she never saw what I saw growing up. Shut-off notices on the fridge, broken payphones where child support should have been, and a mother too tired to remember if she'd eaten that day. But Riley got ballet classes, designer notebooks, a dorm room with a view of the lake. I made sure of it. I was the one who stayed behind when Dad left, the one who turned 20 with a screaming toddler on my hip and bills in my hand. While she painted her nails and kissed boys on the porch, I juggled. Late shifts and early mornings so she'd have choices. That was my role. Not glamorous, not Instagrammable, just necessary. And I thought it was worth it. Every overtime hour, every skipped birthday dinner, every time I watched her shine from the shadows until the day she made a toast and acted like I didn't exist. I thought I was building a legacy. Turns out I was just being erased. I didn't even know there was a party until I saw the video. It started with a text from Carly, a girl I hadn't spoken to since. Riley's junior year. No greeting, no context, just a link and 4 words. "You might want this." I tapped it on my lunch break, standing in line for a $4 coffee I couldn't justify but desperately needed. The video opened to a garden draped in fairy lights, champagne glasses clinking, someone laughing too loud. Then I saw her, Riley, in white silk, standing beside a man I'd only ever seen in holiday photos, his parents' anniversary party. She was glowing, confident, holding a microphone, and then she said it. I was raised by a single mom who gave everything, even when we had nothing. I'm an only child, but I never felt alone. The words landed like glass in my chest. There was polite applause. Someone wiped a tear. I stood frozen in line, the video still playing, the words echoing louder than the noise around me. Only child, single mom, never alone. I had just wired her tuition the day before. I was still paying off the braces she smiled with in that video. It wasn't just a speech. It was a rewrite, and she cut me from the script. I told myself it didn't mean anything, just nerves, just a mistake, just a moment. I tried to forget the video, tried to rationalize it. She probably panicked, I told myself. Maybe it wasn't planned. Maybe she didn't mean to say that. But 24 hours later, she texted me, "Hey, can you send $200 for housing? My loan's delayed." Again. "Love you." 3 heart emojis. No mention of the party. No thank you for the tuition. No apology. Just a link to her Venmo. And a winking gif. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I opened my finance folder. Every wire transfer, every bank statement, every screenshot labeled Riley. I wasn't her sister. I was her sponsor. And I realized she didn't forget me. She was hiding me. Because in her world, the one with wine tastings and linen napkins and curated dinner photos, I didn't fit. And worse than not being acknowledged. I was inconvenient. That's when it hit me. She hadn't erased me. She'd replaced me, and I was still paying for it. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most were once your lifeline. I hadn't been to Kelly's Diner in 5 years. The place hadn't changed. The same ripped booths, same burnt coffee smell, same woman behind the register with a voice like gravel and a stare that saw through your soul. Kelly once fired me when I fell asleep during a shift. I was 22, working doubles, trying to make rent and get Riley through junior high. She didn't yell. She just said, "Baby, you can't save anyone if you're the one drowning." Then she handed me a biscuit and a napkin and told me to sleep. In my car. I didn't blame her. That day I walked in and asked for a coffee. She looked up, blinked. "Still saving her?" she said flatly. I didn't answer. She poured the coffee anyway, slid it over and added, "You know what happens when you raise someone who never learns to say thank you? They grow up thinking the world owes them more." I laughed, then cried. She didn't hug me, didn't offer comfort. She just said, You got proof of what you've done for her? I nodded. Good, she said. Then stop being the floor. Let her feel the fall. I walked out of there with a free coffee, red eyes, and something stronger than anger, permission. 250 words. It wasn't a scream, it was a switch. No confrontation, no fight. Just one phone call to the university's financial office. One form submitted, one name removed from the payer's account. Mine. No warning, no goodbye. She'd find out when her card declined, when the dorm locked her out, when the school emailed her, not me, about the overdue balance. I didn't block her. I didn't text back. I didn't even open her next message. Just checking. Did the rent go through? I let it sit there, unread, unacknowledged, a ghosted echo in a thread full of receipts. And still, she posted, out to brunch, matching hoodies with her boyfriend. Blessed life, under a filtered photo with $17 avocado toast. She wasn't worried, because she thought I'd always pay. That was her mistake, and I made sure the fall would be silent. No nets, no preamble, just gravity. And then, she called, 6 times in one day. The voicemails started calm. Hey, I think the payment didn't go through. Then desperate, Ava, please, I don't have time to explain right now. Then furious, I don't know what your problem is, but this is my life. I still didn't answer, because now it was hers to carry. I wasn't being cruel. I was just done being edited out of a story I paid to produce. The funny thing about lies? They don't fall apart quietly. The first person to reach out wasn't Riley. It was her roommate, a girl I barely knew named Grace, who messaged me on Instagram out of nowhere. Hey, just wondering, did Riley say you were still covering her rent? Because campus housing's been on her case and she told everyone her trust fund got frozen? Trust fund. That was a new one. I replied with a single sentence. There's no trust fund. Just a tired sister who finally hit her limit. Within hours, Riley called again. Blocked number, straight to voicemail. Then I got a DM from her boyfriend's sister. We'd never spoken, but she had questions. Apparently, Riley told their whole family she came from a trauma background, that she raised herself, and that I was an estranged cousin with emotional issues. Not dead, not disappeared, just downgraded to a cautionary tale. That's when I started gathering the receipts. Screenshots, tuition records, bank statements, rent transfers, backlogged emails of Riley begging for help between emojis and voice notes. Every time she said, "You're all I have." Every time she cried broke. Every time she thanked me, when she still remembered how I put them all in a folder, printed, labeled, sealed, the truth, curated, and chronological. And then the last twist dropped. Grace sent me a screenshot Riley had posted to a private Finsta account, a photo of her new handbag. Can't believe I snagged this with my housing refund. My stomach turned. She wasn't just erasing me. She was using me to buy the image of someone who never needed me. She didn't trip over the truth. She crashed into it because she built her life on my silence. I looked down at the folder in my lap. The final piece wasn't revenge. It was reality, and I was done hiding it. I didn't need to ruin her. I just needed to be undeniable. I didn't show up angry. I showed up, invited. Riley had no idea I'd spoken to anyone. No idea Grace had forwarded screenshots. No idea her boyfriend's sister now followed me, quietly connecting dots. So when I got a message from his mother, "We'd love to meet you, dear. Riley said you two used to be close." I smiled. Brunch was at a French cafe downtown. White, linen napkins, crystal pitchers of cucumber water, the kind of place where everything whispered status. I arrived 5 minutes early, ordered tea, sat in silence. Then they arrived, Riley, her boyfriend, and both parents, everyone in coordinated beige. Riley's smile faltered when she saw me. I stood up, hugged her like nothing was wrong. She flinched. "You look surprised," I said gently. "I thought you told them I was your cousin." Her boyfriend's mother blinked. Riley laughed, too quickly, too loudly. "Oh, she's joking," she said. Ava's hilarious. I didn't laugh. Instead, I reached into my bag and pulled out the folder, labeled, "The Truth About Riley." I placed it on the table, calm, centered, heavy. I just wanted to drop this off. A little timeline of who really raised Riley and who really paid for the life she's pretending to have earned. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just delivered the truth and let her try to outrun it. Some people shout to control a room. I prefer silence. When I slid the folder across the table, no one moved at first. Riley stared at it like it was a lit match. Her boyfriend leaned forward instinctively. His mother placed a hand on his arm, as if already bracing for impact. I took a sip of tea. Let the weight settle. "Everything in there," I said softly, "is dated, verified. Tuition transfers, rent deposits, even the orthodontist payments." I smiled at Riley, gently, as if this were just another Sunday check-in. And yes, I'm the sister, not the cousin. Not the distant relative with problems, just the one who made sure she could walk into your lives pretending she did it all herself. Riley reached for the folder. I put a hand over it. "No, I think they should read it first." Her mouth opened, closed. A tremble worked its way into her carefully painted voice. "She's trying to humiliate me," Riley snapped, turning to her boyfriend's mom. "You know how toxic she's always been. She's obsessed with making herself the victim." But no one looked convinced, not when I calmly opened the folder and slid out the top page, a payment summary with Riley's name, $63,400 in transfers, over 4 years, my name on every line. Her boyfriend's father cleared his throat. His mother leaned back. "I just thought," I said, still quiet, "if you're welcoming her into your family, you deserve to know who made that possible." Riley's voice cracked. "She's making it sound like I owe her my life." And for the first time, I answered without flinching. "You don't owe me your life, just the truth." Then I stood, tucked the folder back into my bag. "I'm not here to ruin anything," I added, meeting each pair of eyes, "but I won't keep paying for someone else's fantasy." I turned to Riley. "Erase me all you want. Just don't use my money to do it." No one stopped me as I walked away. No one called after me. The brunch table, so full of curated warmth, moments before had gone ice cold, and behind me, I heard the softest thing of all, a chair scraping back. Someone had finally stood up. But it wasn't for her. I didn't need to burn it down. She built the fire herself. I just handed her a mirror. I never asked what happened after I left that brunch. Didn't need to, because 3 days later, I got a voicemail from Mom. She came home, crying, saying everyone turned on her, that you sabotaged everything. I said nothing. Mom paused before adding, almost in a whisper, "For what it's worth, I think she needed the fall." Riley's boyfriend didn't post her birthday photos that year. The sponsored vacation. Stories stopped. Her classes, unenrolled. Her social media, private. I didn't gloat. I didn't stalk. But one day, while picking up groceries, I saw her at the pharmacy counter. Hood up, card declined, voice low as she asked if she could split the prescription. She didn't see me. And I didn't walk over. Because this wasn't a punishment. It was a return to reality, one she had outrun with my help for too long. I wasn't cold. I wasn't cruel. I was just no longer the net beneath her performance. She fell, not with drama, but with silence. The kind of fall that teaches you gravity always wins, when you forget who held you up. When you stop holding someone else up, your hands are finally free. I didn't throw a party, didn't post a quote about healing or boundaries. I just bought a secondhand laptop, enrolled in night classes at the community college, and exhaled. For the first time in over a decade, I wasn't budgeting for 2 people. I wasn't checking tuition deadlines. I wasn't juggling rent deposits with guilt. It was strange, like relearning how to breathe. I got promoted at work, took weekend drives with no destination, repainted the kitchen walls a color I liked, even booked a small trip, my first ever, by myself. A coastal town, cheap motel, salt air, silence. It didn't look like much on paper, but it felt like gold, because no one was waiting on me. No one was asking for more. And for once, I wasn't shrinking so someone else could shine. Mom called a few times, said Riley was still adjusting. I just said, "So am I," and I meant it. I spent half my life stitching a parachute for someone else. Turns out, I was the one who needed to land. Grief isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just sitting still with a version of someone who never really existed. There are nights I still think about her, not the Riley at brunch, not the girl with the fake speeches and the designer lies, but the Riley I thought I raised, the one who used to fall asleep on my shoulder in front of cartoons, the one who left sticky notes in my lunchbox that said, "You're the best sister ever," in shaky crayon handwriting. The one who cried when I cried, and swore we'd never leave each other behind. That Riley, she's gone. Maybe she never existed outside of memory and hope. Maybe she grew into someone who learned how to smile through a lie and survive on performance. But I grieved her all the same, and I stopped trying to fix what wasn't mine to carry. I didn't block Riley. I didn't curse her name. I just let the silence stretch until it became peace. There's a difference between cutting someone off and choosing not to bleed for them anymore. It took me too long to learn it, and even longer to stop looking back. But these days, when I do, I don't ache, I just nod, because that chapter ended. And I'm still here, whole, quiet, free. Sometimes the betrayal isn't what they did. It's realizing who they were all along and forgiving yourself for not seeing it sooner. They say history is written by the victors, but sometimes it's rewritten by the ones who survived quietly. I used to think love meant sacrificing until there was nothing left. That being the good one meant enduring, giving, forgiving, until the people you saved couldn't remember you without the help. But that's not love. That's a vanishing act, and I refuse to disappear again. So no, I didn't destroy her. I didn't ruin her future. I just stopped funding the fiction. I let the story unravel, let her rewrite me out, and then publish the footnotes she tried to bury. Every transfer, every sacrifice, every silent yes that should have been a no, paid for her rise. And when the fall came, I let gravity speak for itself. Because sometimes the loudest justice is walking away while they still think you're coming back. Now, I write my own chapters. I laugh without guilt. I say no without explanation. I build things, for myself this time. And when people ask about her, I say, we grew apart. And I let that be enough, because I didn't just cut her off. I reclaimed the author's seat in a story I'd been funding, but never allowed to. Finish. She erased me to impress them, but I took back the pen and wrote myself back in.